Jake, and welcome to another episode of Comics Off My Wall. As you can see, I've got myself a nice action comic, and it did go right here in its nice little plastic sleeve. This is the one I picked because when I was going through my comic collection, like everybody does, I'm checking to see if I've got some hidden gem. For whatever reason, the way that Superman's just laughing himself to... Yeah, he's just really tickled about something. I thought that this was going to be worth something. Read the story, realized it wasn't going to be worth nothing, and I was right. This is actually, well, it cost 25 cents. It was the Action comic. This was in 1970. Let's see here. So all you gotta do is look at this nice Hostess cake. Hostess cake ad, and right in the corner there it says 1975. So this is from 1975. You got Superman on the cover there. He's all tickled about something. It's called an earth-shattering thriller, The Laugh Heard Round the World. And what this comic starts off with is a comedian for Las Vegas. He's the big showliner, basically like your Johnny Carson of Las Vegas. He's doing his jokes or whatever. He's in between shows, steps out to have his cigarette. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, ends up in the alley, and in the comic world we know alleys are not the place to be. He gets mugged, and even though we know that we're established in Las Vegas, Superman shows up. The guy's about ready to stomp on his head because he didn't have any money, and he realizes as he's putting his foot down that he's being like lifted up in the air, and he's like, how is this happening? And Superman's like, this is how it's happening, and he throws him at his buddy. And unfortunately, the comedian took a really bad bash to the back of the head. Superman takes him to the hospital. They have an x-ray and whatever, and he tells Superman, look, Johnny's all right, but he shook something of his brain. That there's like 90% gray matter, and think of any other movie that automatically comes to mind, that we only use 1% of our brain. But poor Johnny, when he was hit on the head, all that 99% that he doesn't use was shooken. So he goes to Superman and says, look, I don't know why you're in Nevada, but can you go check him out, because we don't know anything about the brain. Again, this was in 1975, so he's talking about ESP, saying something magical could happen because now he has full access of his brain. So Johnny, he goes back, he's Clark Kent, and he's with Lois Lane, and Lois Lane doesn't know that he's Superman. They're watching that Johnny show, and the reason that they're there is they basically want a vacation, or their bosses told them to take a vacation, because they are reporters together. They're watching the show. Johnny comes out, he's doing pretty good, he almost bombs a little bit, and he tells a story about, hey, I'm really glad that this show came back, and I'm leaving you laughing, because the last time that I bombed, I got maple syrup thrown all over me and thrown outside in a sandstorm, and that was the worst night of my life. So he's done with the show, everything's going fine. Clark Kent and Lois Lane go in the back to the green room to say hi. He says hi for like 2 seconds to Johnny, and Johnny goes out the room just running, saying, leave me alone. And as he goes outside, Superman says, oh, with my supervision, I can see there's a sandstorm, kind of like the one that Johnny was mentioning. So... he gets out to the front of the casino. Turns out there is a sandstorm, and it engulfs Johnny, Nevada, right? So we go to the next kind of panel, sees a guy walking down the street. He's down on his luck. He's talking about, oh, I lost all my chips. Need to find something to sell. And then he sees this big sand monster running down the street. And they make note that the monster's very clumsy, and that it doesn't seem to be moving right. And so, from the screams and stuff, Clark Kent says, I've got to bounce. I got to get out of here. And what I always thought was, why did Lois Lane never notice that? Well, she says it right here. She shows. She thinks Clark Kent's just a little girl. Because, like, every time that he leaves, anytime that there's trouble, I mean, I'm guessing that's what you would think about anybody that was like, oh, is that trouble? I'll be right back. You know what I mean? So that's what she sees. That's what she sees Clark Kent as, is this big baby. But it turns out he goes in the film booth, he comes out, does his thing, and he sees that this monster is, he goes out in the street, and a car almost runs over the sand monster, but it swerves, and Superman has to pick up this car and put it down so that it doesn't kill anybody. So he knows kind of like, oh, this isn't going too well. So he confronts it, and the sand monster like slams his head, like knocks his head on the Las Vegas sign in a funny kind of weird way. And then the thing throws a sand pie, like a mud pie, at Superman, and it actually kind of makes Superman stunned. But Superman is realizing that that's what the 99% of his brain is doing, is reacting and actually giving like this kinetic charge to the sand around him. So the sand monster, he goes over, he kicks a hydrant, and it almost looks like he's doing some kind of dance. So Superman starts looking at the crowd going, all right, everybody just start laughing. You just need to start laughing. Laugh at the monster. And they're going, we're not going to, he's trying to kill everybody. We're not going to laugh. And Superman gets them to all start laughing, and nothing happens. And Superman realizes that the sand around the comedian is so tough that he's the one that's got to do it. So they go to somebody who's sitting next to a Richter scale going, oh my gosh, Nevada, Las Vegas just had like a 7.3 on the Richter scale. What's going on? And in the next panel, what you see is Superman just chuckling away. I mean, I don't have to act it out. I can show you. I mean, there's Superman. He's just laughing as loud as he can. And there he goes back to normal. Right? Now what happened? It turns out the comedian, because of that 99% of his brain was so kinetically charged that by instinct, the story that was traumatizing about the sand drew the sand, and by instinct he wanted to get laughs. So when he was clambering down the street, he was just trying to be funny. When he hit his head on the sign, he was just trying to be funny. And he wasn't getting the laughs, so he was getting more and more upset. Superman figures it out. Superman laughs. Everything is saved. That's the end of Action Comics. I thought it was kind of cool. I liked the way that the laugh came. I wasn't really seeing what he would be laughing at. It's silly. It's kind of a silly story. Obviously, it's not going to be the next DC big movie that they're going to base Superman off of, but it's better than the first one they based it off of. So, this has been Comics Off My Wall. Action Comics. This thing was 25 cents. It was enjoyable. It came from that spot on my wall. Make sure to stay tuned because I'm going to do a lot more of these. I really enjoy making use of my comics and giving, kind of giving back. We're just sitting here, so why not share the stories with you? I'm not sure what we'll do next, but again, leave a comment. You see a comic that you want to hear about, we'll do that one. So thank you so much and enjoy your day.